All right. On today's episode of the Anime Village podcast, I welcome on a very special guest. He is Drew Breedlove. He is the voice actor of Bachira in Blue Lock, and he is Jade Raven in Fruit of Evolution, and a voice on other animes as well too. Drew, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much for making time and coming on our podcast. We greatly appreciate your time and everything. It's we're super excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I love it. I love it. So, Drew, before we get into like blue lock questions and anything like that, I want to talk about your background because you've been voice acting, and how did you get into voice acting and acting as well too?
Dude, oh man, that's a okay, so long story short, or short story long, sorry. Uh in 5th grade, I had watched this movie called Nausicaa the Valley of the Wind, which is a Studio Ghibli movie, if you
Yeah.
know Studio Ghibli. And I fell in love with the art style, and I decided, I was like, hey, I'm going to be a Japanese animator. So all through middle school, I took art and did drawing and shading and all that jazz. And then once I got to high school, my mom was like, well, you should learn a different aspect of the industry. So I was like, okay. So I tried out for theater, and I'd never acted before. And my high school at the time actually had a junior varsity and a varsity theater class. And so I wasn't going to audition for him, but then the director was like, hey, you're going to audition, right? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, hey, you're going to audition, right? So I ended up auditioning, and I did it for the next 4 years, and I fell in love with it. And I was actually, originally, I was going to go out to New York and pursue theater. But my uncle, who he was in the industry for a very long time, um, the film industry. He had told me, he was like, hey, you know what, you ought to try to do film, because that's where a lot of people make their money and make their living first, and then they retire to theater. Because a lot of those actors that are even still on Wicked and stuff, right after they finish touring, they go back to waiting tables and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll try for film. So I got an agent here in Dallas, and I started auditioning. I started booking commercials, and I did a couple mini series, and I shot a Hallmark type movie a year before last, and it came out at the beginning of last year. So I still do a lot of on camera work. But how I got into voiceover specifically, you know, when I first started my professional journey, it was something that I was always thinking about doing, because I would play video games, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Or like, I was a big anime fan. So, I thought it would be fun to do anime, but I never really tried hard to get into it, or I didn't really know how to get into it. But so my old church was doing a production of a musical called Fiddler on the Roof. And my brother, who's a musician, he was playing the fiddler because he can play violin. And 2 days before opening, one of their leads got sick, and so they asked me. They were like, "Hey, can you like learn this part and all the blocking and everything in like 2 days?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And it turns out that the director of that specific show was actually friends with an up and coming director at Funny
Oh,
at the time, Funimation. And so he was like, "Hey," he came and saw the show, and he was like, "Hey, can I have some of your actors come audition for me?" And so I auditioned, and literally the first time I had ever done any voice work in my life was my first Funimation session on a show called All Out. It's a rugby anime, but it was so nerve wracking because I had no idea what what I was doing, because it was so different from theater and film.
right.
The approach is so different. And specifically, dubbing anime is just so different. So that's kind of how I felt, and I fell into Funimation around 2016,
Oh
and
wow.
so I've been doing it ever since. So
How
yeah.
how does like the so with voiceover acting, like what's it like when you step into the booth? Like what's that kind of like, do you have to watch like the sub version of it first, or like do you have to like watch the reaction and like voiceover it from there, or how does that go?
So usually when you step into the booth, there's two screens. One has the script, and the other one has the playback, the sub, essentially.
Yeah.
And so what they'll do is, a lot of times you've never even seen the show, or you don't even really know who you're voicing. So they'll be like, okay, here's the Japanese, and you've never seen the script before. So like you're trying to see this character come up with a voice, trying to memorize the line real quick so you can match the flaps, and then you're also watching the Japanese version to see how they like, emote, essentially.
Yeah.
And then when the director says go, you go, and then that's it. And so you do that for every single line. And so it's it's a lot more difficult than people make it out to be, especially to nail it and be believable. Yeah, it's a lot more difficult for
Oh,
sure.
I bet. Yeah, I've heard like some people say it's easy, and then not like voiceover actors, but like just people be like, oh, must be easy being a voiceover person. Then as I interview, like the more like you guys are voiceover and stuff, everyone's like, it's not easy at all. Like
No.
you have to act, and you have to like you're still acting in every which way possible, way, right? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was very fortunate because up until I had done voiceover work, I had been taking a on-camera class, and they were really, really good about like every single time we would come in, because it was a weekly class, and so every time we would come in, we would do cold read scenes. So a lot of times, I had that experience of like being paired up with someone, given a script that I had never seen before, and then I would have to be able to react believably to those people. And so that class, and then a lot of my improv experience beforehand, I attribute to being able to be somewhat decent as an anime voice actor.
You're like, you do
So
well, you do a great job on Blue Lock, so and as Bachira,
thank you,
so
brother.
you do an excellent job. I want to know what animes did you watch to when you were getting into things, like before you got into things, like what were your animes that you really enjoyed watching that like kind of made that decision to get into Japanese animation and everything too?
So man, so back when Funimation had their own TV network, I would pretty much watch everything that was on there. So I would watch shows like Prince of Tennis, School Rumble. There was a show called Bobo Bobo Bo that's still my favorite. It's about this guy with the giant afro, and his like superpowers. He has like these long nose hairs, and he can like punch people. It was it was so goofy. It was a great show. And then I would also, watch your stereotypical Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, all that jazz. And so those were really the shows that I watched at the time. And honestly, I'm so behind on all my animes. Like, I think anything 2012 and after, I haven't really watched. I'm caught up on, I like One Punch Man a lot.
Yeah.
And then I watched Demon Slayer, but the reason I binged that was because some friends of mine had bought me a ticket to the movie, and I was like, I've never even seen the anime, and they're like, well, you've got 3 days to binge it. I was like, okay. So I binged Demon Slayer, so I've seen that. But yeah, man, I watched a lot of the older animes for sure. And then of course I've been watching Blue Lock, but I do that because I watch the sub first the
Okay.
week before, and then just kind of see what I'm doing and kind of prepare. And then I'll watch, and then when I go in for the dub, I feel a little more just prepared, knowing what's going on around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's cool. I have to check now. I have to check it. Was it Bo? What is it called?
Bo 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 bo. It's all B O
Bo.
B O B O B O. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a goofy name, dude. It's
I'll have to
good.
check it out. I'm definitely down for something that's funny or like goofy. So I'll definitely check it out for sure.
It is. It's out there, man. Oh, another one that I love is there's an anime called Ghost Stories. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
Ghost Stories. It's basically just the premise. And I was surprised how many big people were in it, because I think like Monica Rial's in it too. And so basically, what happened was this anime was supposed to be a horror anime first, and it took itself very seriously in the J, and it bombed in Japan so bad that they literally tried to like get rid of it. They got rid of any trace of it. Blah 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 blah. And I guess, and I could be wrong, but I guess this dubbing company got a hold of it, and they were like, "Hey, can we dub it?" And Japan was like, "Okay, you can dub it, but you can't change the story." But basically, what they do is they don't change the story, but it's just off the wall. It's basically like some what's the Dragon Ball abridged? It's basically like that. It's just off the wall. It's so goofy. It's so fun. That one's a lot of fun. Ghost
I'll have to
Stories.
check that out too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
All
it's a
right.
good one.
You gave me 2 animes to watch out of this. So I'll
Heck
definitely
yeah,
check this out. Check this
heck
out.
yeah.
But for Blue Lock, I mean, you rock the jersey. I see the
Heck
Japanese
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see.
that's awesome.
Got Bachira on the back. I don't know if you can see that.
I love that. That's awesome. That's so sick.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw Rico. So Rico, who plays Isagi in the show, he has one too. And I'm like, dude, we got to show up in cons and these things. So I had to get one myself. So
That's sick. That's awesome though that you got
yeah.
one and rocking it. And I love that you wore it to this interview. But how did you get approached for the role as Bachira?
Dude, that's a funny story. So, um, one of my side gigs is I work at a pet hotel. And literally, I was at work, and I was checking my emails or whatever, and I saw that I got an email from the lady who kind of deals with the talent, and I got an email, and they were like, "Hey, so and so wants to offer you this role," and his name's Jonathan Rigg, is the director,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Okay, cool," and they said Blue Lock and Bachira, blah 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 blah, and I was like, "Okay, cool." I'd never heard of it, and prior to that, with Jonathan Rigg, I did a little tiny, like 15-second part on a show called Fruit of Evolution.
Yeah.
His, Jade Raven.
Yeah.
And it's just it's one of the demon lords, and he's kind of like, he kind of sits where Bachira sits. And Jonathan said that he loved what I did with him so much that he was like, you know what, I feel like he would do some really cool stuff with Bachira.
Yeah.
So he offered me the role. And when I got the email, I was like, okay, cool. Because up until then, I hadn't booked any like major roles, and I was like, okay, cool. It's probably like a little minor role, or maybe like a 2 or 3 episodes. And as we go along, everyone at my work, they're all weebs too. So I was talking to my manager, and I was like, yeah, there's this show called Blue Lock that I just worked on. This is after the first episode, and he was like, holy crap, that's a big one. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, the manga, like, there's a huge following, and he's like, it's a crazy anime, or like it's gonna be everyone's talking about it. And I was like, okay. So I went home and I researched everything about Bachira, and like, I guess I never realized, like, because everywhere you look, it was like a lot of people were fans of Bachira, like even pre-anime. And I was like, oh man, I'm nervous now, because I was hoping that I could, bring justice to the character, and yeah, man. So I guess, and it still hasn't really hit me, because like, you had mentioned that you had some buddies, before this, you had some buddies that were Blue Lock fans, and some of these cons that I've been calling and talking to, like, they're telling me that they have fans that are asking them like, hey, are we going to get some Blue Lock boys out? Or like, they have friends of theirs that are Blue Lock fans. And I'm like, what's weird is on our end, you just, I guess, don't realize how big it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we don't really see that. Like, we go and we perform, and like, yeah, I've seen all the merch. Like on Twitter, you see they're literally releasing merch left and right of Blue Lock, which is kind of cool, which is pretty cool. But like, it's I don't know. It still hasn't hit me yet.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's funny because like I feel like when Blue Lock got released, I heard like all like the craze before it, but like also too, I feel like the craze that maybe it helped it. I don't know if it did help it, but it was like Japan in the World Cup too, like adding on like the jersey, like that's why I brought up the jersey too, because like Japan's like runs and like things that they did that like everyone's like, oh my god, they did this in Blue Lock, like, and like they're putting up the clips and everything like that. It's nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts because you know uh when the World Cup happened, I didn't know that I can never pronounce it right, but the mangaka, I'm just gonna say, the author of Blue Lock, basically.
Yeah.
He one of the cast members told me that he helped design these. And so like, what was funny is that the first episode, they had, I think it was, it was Japan versus Germany.
Yeah.
In one of the flash forwards, or one of the hypothetical kind of flashback things that they did. And when Japan beat Germany, like, everyone was flipping out,
Yeah.
and then, they beat Spain, which Spain's a big one, and everyone was really flipping out,
Right.
because they were wearing Blue Lock jerseys. And like, I mean, whoever the marketing team for Blue Lock is absolutely genius, because that's as good as it gets,
Yeah.
from marketing. But it was super, super cool to see that they were wearing these jerseys, and to see all the World Cup, illustrations and stuff that were coming out. It was bizarre. It was bizarre to watch. It was super cool though.
And it's awesome. It's crazy. And then obviously like Instagram, TikTok, everyone goes nuts about it. And then you see it, and like you said, like it must have been like it was the perfect storm of marketing for Blue Lock, and like
Yes.
and like for the jerseys, but also just like everyone, like I don't know, like you said, the reference of the like in the show of Germany and Japan too, which is also nuts as well too.
Yeah. It's nuts, man. It's so cool, and what's so interesting is, before Blue Lock, like I said, I'd watch Prince of Tennis, but everyone keeps telling me to watch, was it Aoashi, but I can't say the word, but it's the other soccer anime, and then there's Haikyuu as
Yeah.
well. And I haven't seen those, and my friend's like, oh, you gotta watch Haikyuu because that's like one of his favorites. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch sports anime, but like when I saw Blue Lock, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it feels like I like to describe it, two ways to people. I say it's either Squid Games
Yep.
meets soccer,
Yeah.
or it's really a shonen fight anime with the soccer ball somewhere in there.
Right.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
And Rico was the one who actually told me that because he had found some artwork of Isagi kicking the head of a demon instead of a soccer ball, because I didn't know, or from a Titan, from Attack on Titan, because the creator of Blue Lock is actually, I believe, the assistant to the creator of Attack on Titan.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
yeah. And when Rico told me, I was like, oh, what? And so I was like, that explains like why the animation's so good. Why you can tell that they have a really good budget, because the guy who wrote this clearly knows what he's doing with characters and arcs and little moments. And so he's yeah. When I found that out, I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I guess that the description of the way you described Blue Lock was like Squid Game. That's what I was trying to. I was like, it reminds me of some show, and then when you just said Squid Games, like that's what it reminds me of. That's exactly what it is. It's like different stages and stuff like that. That it's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Bachira's characteristics, I mean, Bachira's like a very interesting, quirky kind of character. Like, how did you like pinpoint that and get it down? Because you do like an excellent job with his voice and like getting like doing everything. It's like you really bring the character to life. Like, how did you get that like down to a point of like a science, I guess?
Well, even before I heard the J, I saw the character and I was like, all right, this is going to be definitely a higher pitched character. And then I watched the J and I liked how he did it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to have to do it like that. So, I did choir for, a couple years, and I did a lot of musicals as well. So I was able to, I kind of look at voice acting like singing, right? Like, so you can like, you can change it like the pitch, or different ways like that. Anyways, so Bachira, he kind of sits in my falsetto. So it's kind of like a nasally, like the top of my throat kind of thing, And so, it gives that kind of, that happy but like mischievous kind of look.
Yeah.
And then when he goes full demon mode, then I just add a little texture to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what I do.
That's fantastic. That's so crazy. It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, Bachira's character is like pretty much like this, like the second, I guess, like almost like the second main character in the show. Like what's it like to play that, but like be like the main protagonist, Ichigi's like, I don't know, right hand man, and kind of like balance him out a little bit, like bring out the best of the character, I guess.
Dude, it's nuts. It's nuts, man. It's absolutely, like I said, man, this is the biggest role I've ever had. Like up until then, I had done what we call in the industry a lot of walla, which is basically, it's like a fancy term for like extra work or bit roles in voiceover, right? So like if you're ever watching a show and you hear like a monster that's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, to the main character or whatever, that's walla, And so up until then, I'd mostly done walla, and I had done a few minor roles, but nothing more than like characters that were in like a single episode kind of thing, right? And so when I got Bachira, it was kind of like a shock at first. But I Jonathan Rigg, the director, and Derek, I can't even remember his last name. I feel so bad. But the sound engineer, both of them create such a fun environment, to work in. Because I constantly like analyze every single thing that I do. You know how it's like, a painter could create like an absolute masterpiece, and like everyone's like, oh my God, you're so great. It's totally worth $1 million painting. And then they'll look at it and they'll be like, oh, but I could add some highlights here, or oh, I could do this, And so I'm the exact same way. So at first I was like freaking out, right? But Jonathan was able to calm me down, and he was really cool. He and I think a lot, very similar, like in terms of like, what we wanted from the character. Like we noticed in the J that, and I'm not bashing the J, but I love what he does. But we noticed in the J, like when he goes those crazy eyes, he still sounds really happy. And we were like, what if we make him sound a little demonic? You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And give that little texture, you know? And so we did that, and being able to do that, and like, you know, with Isagi, going back to your question, with Isagi, Bachira and Isagi have some really cool little moments. And
yeah.
so it's really cool to play off of Rico in those moments, and like hear us kind of like blend together. It's pretty cool. I mean, and even with Jonathan, one thing he says is he's like, you guys really, like, y'all's voices definitely complement each other. And I'm like, yeah, it's very, I don't know, it's cool. I love it.
It's such like a great show, and like you said, I'm not like one to watch money sports animes like too as well, but that
Right.
this one, like I watched it and I just got like I want to, like, I'm locked in. I want to like see what's going on the next episode, and like it's cool to see Bachiro like bring out the best of Ishigi, like his
Yeah.
character, like make him like become more of that demon mode, or that there's a monster inside of him too. That and
Yeah.
it's cool. And then what's it like to work with like Rico and the other guys? And I know, I can't remember. I think it's Austin who does the voice of I I can't think of the character's name. It begins with a C, Chiguriri, or he
Oh,
does
Aaron
Aaron.
Dismuke.
Yeah, and he does like he's also the voice of like Dr. Stone and like some other stuff. Like, what's it like to
Full
work with
Metal
those
Alchemist.
guys? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, all the way back then. Yeah, man.
yeah.
It's it's nuts. I will say the one downside about dubbing is I very rarely get to physically see them, but I interact with them a lot on social media because, you know, a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of Blue Lock artwork, so people tag us all the time, and so I talk to them all the time. And Rico's super cool. I'm really hoping that both of us, you know, at least get a couple cons together this year, because you know, I would definitely like to be able to be on a panel with him or stuff, because, you know, I love him, man. He's super nice, super humble dude. He literally, when the couple times I met him, he just never stopped smiling the
Oh,
whole
that's
time,
awesome.
and he's super cool. And then Aaron Dismuke as well. I met him a couple times. He's a little quieter, but I
Yeah,
love him. He's cool.
yeah.
He kind of reminds me of um, a taller Hayden Christensen, kind of.
Oh, oh,
It's
wow.
weird.
Yes.
It's kind of weird, that vibe. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, Aaron. If you see this, I'm sorry, but you know, yeah, Hayden Christensen. I'm a huge Hayden Christensen fan, so it's all right. But he kind of reminds me of him in a weird sort of way. But he's super nice, very humble dude. He's a sweetheart as well. There's really not a Blue Lock cast member that I've met that I don't like. Like, they're all
Oh,
really just very down to earth, really chill dudes. And there's another cast member. His name's Matthew Elkins. He plays Zantetsu, which
yeah,
is the speedy guy with the speedy specs.
yeah, yeah.
And you know, me and him, I used to work at Medieval Times. I was a squire, and he's one of the knights there. And when I found out he was cast, he didn't tell me at first, so I was really mad. So I blew up his phone. But you know, it's really cool being able to work with him, because I quit Medieval Times, like, literally I quit, and then the next week pandemic happened, so
Oh
I
my
hadn't
God.
seen him for a while. So being able to be reunited with him was really cool as well. And then Alex Home, or Hom, I always mispronounce his last name. He and I have a con in Tennessee, Chattanooga, called Con Nuga, coming up. It's February 17th through the 19th,
Oh, nice.
and he plays Kunigami,
Oh,
and
cool.
he's a really big sweetheart too. He and I we actually hung out. He had a New Year's party, and I got to hang out with him. And he's a great dude. He's literally a big teddy bear.
Oh, oh,
He's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
He's awesome.
That's
So,
great. And that's awesome that you guys all get like, seems like you all get along, and that I think
oh
that's
yeah,
cool to make it cool for like the show. I'm sure the chemistry of the show helps out with the chemistry of the show for sure.
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, the Blue Lock boys, yeah, we definitely got a bromance going. You know, an
I love it.
unbreakable bromance going.
I
And
love
you
it.
know, this year we're definitely really trying to we've got a little traveling circus going too, with all these cons that we're going to. And I know the boys are really excited to meet some fans of the show. And because a lot of them, like, what's very interesting is when you look at the cast of Blue Lock, there's a lot of and even in the J, it's the same way. There's a lot of actors who are veterans and have done a lot, like Derek Snow and Rico.
Yeah.
You know, Derek Snow was in Fire Force. He played Shinra, I believe. I haven't seen Fire Force, but you know, apparently Shinra is like a really big character. And then Rico was in My Hero as well. And
wow.
then, you have some guys like this is their first ever anime, that they've done.
Yeah.
And so like they're completely new. And so it's really cool to have like that mix of veterans and newbies, and we all get along, and it is. We're all like brothers for sure.
That's awesome. It'd be great if all of you guys can get to like one con together. It'd be kind of cool to see it.
Dude, I hope so, man. The problem is there's so many of us. There's so many because there's 11 of us on Team Z,
Yeah.
and then you have all the side characters that are super cool. Like you have Nico and King Baro, and you have like Matt Rudd. He's awesome. He's super cool too. Who plays Baro, and then you also have like Nagi, and then you have Reen coming up. Rayo, Zantetsu. Like there's so many cool characters.
Right.
The newest one that was introduced that I really like is I still can't say his name. His name's Aru or whatever. He's got long hair and he talks like he says glam or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. He's gonna be a fun one.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Excited to see him in the show. I saw he was on the recent dub episode that was the latest.
Yes, yeah, and he'll be in the one tomorrow as well. He's pretty prominent in the one tomorrow too. So I'm excited. Tomorrow's episode, check it out. It's gonna be awesome. Episode 13. It's gonna be a good one.
I'm excited to check it out. Yeah, it's super. Like that's why I got disappointed when I ran out of episodes. I was like, oh, I'm like, where's the rest of it?
I will say one of the things I absolutely hate about Blue Lock is every single episode leaves you on a cliffhanger. Like whoever gets to binge this, they are so lucky. But like doing the week to week, man, it kills me.
It's tough.
It kills me.
It's tough, but I'm sure you have some stuff you gotta like. You're like, oh, like must know about ahead of time. They can't say. I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's some stuff that I really. Oh man, yeah. There's some stuff ahead of time that I'm really really looking forward to. I'll say this. So a lot of people have been telling me like Bachira's backstory. I'm very excited for that one.
Oh,
that's all I'm gonna say. It's a good one. I looked into it. It's a good one.
I can't wait to see that episode then.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I guess like I want to ask, and if it's not too much, can you give us like a Bachira quote, like maybe like the monster inside him or something like that, or something like that?
Yeah, I could do that. I could do like let's see, in episode 2, I say like, I guess it's because there's a monster inside me.
That's awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. I just have a few more questions and then we'll wrap up the show. And this has been like a fantastic interview. It's like so great, so much fun to speak with you and learn your background and hear the excitement in your voice when you talk about this role and the character you're playing and everything. So it's super exciting. Over here at Anime Village, we're doing something like we're creating our own original mangas, and we have our own metaverse. And with our Anime Village, we have 4 different genres of mangas, where there's sci-fi and there's action, and then there's slice of life, and there's like shonen. So like we want to get your thoughts, because in that metaverse we can go into, like, your character can go into those different areas, but also hang out just in the hub as well too. And we want to get your thoughts on that and what we're doing here over at Anime Village.
Dude, I think it sounds cool. I'm not gonna lie, I need to get a VR headset, but I have some friends of mine that are really really into the metaverse and all that, and it's cool, man. I mean, what you guys are doing is really cool. I think it's really neat that y'all are incorporating that into the metaverse, because I know it's growing a lot. Because I'm a crypto man myself, and I've looked at all the virtual, the lands and the virtual cities and all that, and it's wild to think about like this is happening, but it's super cool to see where the next level of like hanging out with your friends, or conducting business, or I've seen some stuff with even medical programs where they'll bring up images of like patients and they do like virtual surgeries and stuff like that, and like it's really cool to see that in the metaverse, man. So like, good for you guys. That's awesome. I can't wait to see the end product for that. That's gonna be sick.
It's a lot of fun. We have like some downloadable demos, and I can send it to you after. Like, you can play like the game, I think, just on your PC, or and like it's pretty straightforward. And then we also have NFTs too, which if you buy the NFTs, it like gives you like a utility to like your character can wear that that NFT, like the NFT that you bought. So like it's 101. So your character gets that armor, or your character will get like a pass or some land or something like that on top of the NFTs.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah, some different stuff going on over here about Anime Village. So we appreciate your thoughts on it. So it's
Yeah.
super exciting stuff. But I want to ask too, you do a lot of acting. I'm sure you have a busy schedule and stuff, but like, do you have anything that you enjoy outside of the voiceovering and the acting? Like, do you have a hobby that you enjoy the most?
Well, man, lately I haven't been able to do them much. I have a couple. Like, I love animals, so I have a ball python. I used to have like poison dart frogs. My chameleon, he was 7 years old. He passed earlier this year, but I had a chameleon, and so I really I've got a saltwater tank. I've got a freshwater tank, and I really enjoy the hobby of exotic animals. I don't know, it's weird. Like with dart frogs, like you're creating like a rainforest in a box, so there's like that creativity there. So I enjoy that. And then of course I do your stereotypical, I play video games and all that jazz. But something else that I do is I do write. I've actually got the first manuscript of a novel in the hands of an editor right now.
That's awesome.
And then I'm about 10,000 words, or roughly, it's like, I think like 45 pages of my second novel coming out. Because my end goal is like, what I would like to do is get books published, and then get a few of them converted into screenplays, and then perform in them.
That's awesome.
And so that's the goal there. So I also write. I do a lot of stuff. Real estate. I look into real estate all the time. Real estate investing. So some people are like, "How's that fun?" But I watch the market. And do all that kind of stuff. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I think looking at numbers can be fun sometimes.
Yeah,
But
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but doing that, and yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm constantly going, so I haven't been able to do a lot of my hobbies like I'd like to. But that's kind of some of the stuff I do on my off days. Video games is a big one, though.
That's awesome. Is there like a game that you play the most that you enjoy?
Dude, so right now I'm really sticking to like the Halo MCC or Sea of Thieves. And I've been playing a lot of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is, if you haven't played that one, it's basically like GTA meets military sim. And so cool. I kind of enjoyed that kind of like, I don't know if you ever played like the Just Cause games either, but it's basically like a just totally open world, just do whatever you want. It's just goofy, blow everything up, So those kind of games, man. And, I enjoy RPGs too. And I played Dark Souls. I really liked Elden Ring. I played all the Souls games except Sekiro, however you pronounce that. I haven't played that one yet, but yeah, man. So those are games I tend to play.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I gotta get into Elden Ring. I haven't my buddy, all my friends are gamers, so they've been telling me like, oh, you gotta play this. I need to find some time, but like I would love to play it. That's the thing.
It's a time sink, man. It is a time sink, because like you'll put a lot. I think when I actually beat the game, it was at least like 80 hours in.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I know I played a little bit with my buddy. I miss playing games. I miss playing video games. I haven't done it in a little while. Last one I think I played was like I think I played Baldur's Gate, like the demo on that. Like it's like a Dungeons and Dragons type one.
Yeah, that one's good. I play did you ever hear, was it Divinity 2, the Divinity series? It's basically it's literally D&D.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's great. It's freaking awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, they have like, you create a character, and like you have all these different scenarios, and of course like they give you a lot of choices, and like depending on which choice you choose, literally like the whole game can be different. There's like so much lore behind it, and I believe the creator said that they based it off of D&D. So if you like D&D, that's definitely one you should check out, the Divinity series.
I'll definitely check that out. Yeah, I'm a big D&D fan, so I'll definitely have to check that out for sure. So
what do you play?
What
do you play?
I usually will be like a thief or something like that, So do you play too?
Yeah, I usually play human rogue.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I'm just basic, but I do chaotic neutral. So I'm the type of person that the dungeon master like if an old man approaches you, what do you want to do? Can I shoot him in the face? You don't want to talk to the old man? No, I want to shoot him in the face.
I love that. That's pretty much like how I play. Yeah, I do the human, like the rogue, the thief, like type role, and like just have at it and just have some fun with
It's
it.
fun, man. It
Yeah,
is. They're
yeah,
fun for sure.
it's a good time. Um,
Yeah.
Also, I gotta ask too, what's your favorite food? Do you have like a favorite food being down like where you are?
Favorite food, dude. I'm gonna be basic. I love French fries, man. You can't go wrong with French fries. You can dress them up, truffle French fries, cheese French fries, however you want. Dude, I love them. I love French fries. I like my favorite ones are I don't know if you know Freddy's, or like basically just like the shoestring kind of fries.
Yep.
I like those.
Yeah,
Those are my
good.
favorite.
Yeah,
So if we're talking about actual meals, I like caprese stuff. I'm vegetarian, so like I like a lot of stuff like vegetables and stuff like that. But like caprese stuff with the mozzarella, tomato, basil, olive oil, it's all good.
That sounds really good. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, dude.
Actually, I mean, I've had it with I've had it caprese, so I am Italian, but I didn't know if you meant on French fries or something like that. So
heck yeah.
And I guess the last question too before we wrap it up is: do you have any events, anything that you want to promote where you'll be at, where people can find you and chat, talk with you, or anything like that?
Oh man, so funny story. I told myself, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do 5 cons because this is the first time I'm really delving into cons.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to at least get 5 cons this year. I'm up to 10.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm up to 10 with maybe 3 more on the way, 3 or 4 more on the way, and so I've got a lot. So I tell your viewers one thing: keep in touch with me on my Twitter and my Instagram, which is just Drew Breedlove VA. I post a lot about what I'm doing, which cons I'm going to. But my first con is actually with Alex Hom. It's just going to be me and him. And like I said, we're going to Chattanooga, Tennessee, Connuga. It's February 17th through the 19th. And then my next con after that, they haven't made the announcement yet, so I can't actually say it. But I've got so many lined up this year. I'm hoping like either at the end of this month or like after the first week in February, I want to get like a kind of a collage of all the artwork or all the logos of all the conventions I'm going to, and kind of put it together and give people the dates and stuff like that. Because there's, like I said, there's like 10 of them, and I'm like, it blew my mind that people wanted to bring me out to their event. But it's it's whatever.
Yeah,
but,
no big deal.
Yeah, no, but it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So if any of your viewers want to come see me, check me out on social media, because that's where I'll post like where I'm going, when it is, all that jazz. So yeah, first one though is Connuga in Tennessee, February 17th through the 19th.
Nice. I think I saw you'll be close to my area. I think you're down in New Jersey, AC with Puccion.
I will be in New Jersey. Yes. That one is May. Ooh, I don't know the dates. It's
like
it's one of the,
something like that. Or...
Yeah, I want to say, because I think it's the weekend before my birthday. So my birthday is actually May 19th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I always remember that. That's when Star Wars Episode 3 came out. So like, awesome. But yeah, man. But
I was trying to look it up for you to see if I can find it.
Yeah, I think it's 13th through the 14th.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Yeah.
I'm so bad. PucciCon, if you're watching this, I apologize. But yeah, so in May we're gonna be in New Jersey, and yeah, for sure. So I'm really excited for that one, because I've never been to New Jersey, and I believe it's in Atlantic City, right?
Oh, yes, yeah, Atlantic City. I was thinking of Valleys. Yeah. So I saw that recently on your page, so I was like, oh yeah, like it's that.
Yeah, hey, you ought to come say hi.
Sure. Yeah, I'll have to stop by. I think last time I was in Jersey, I had food poisoning, so I had to stop by.
Okay.
Yeah, say hello and actually enjoy myself next time I'm down there. But yeah, it'd be cool to meet in person and everything like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. I've heard Jersey's, a really fun place, so I'm excited. I'm very excited to go there.
Yeah, be a good time. Well, Drew, congratulations on your role as Bachira and Blue Lock, and all the success that you've had, and try to keep the cons down a little bit on a level where you're not traveling so much. But that's awesome. Congratulations on everything, and this has been such a great interview. I appreciate you and your time, and thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime.